Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Harlequin here, and welcome back to the dark, rainy, foreboding atmosphere of Legis High Stratum. This is a fun little 1v1 map for you. And, yeah, man, welcome to the episode of HarlequinCasts Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Let's go ahead and get this game started, because these are two players I really enjoy watching, and hopefully you will too. As you will see, in the northern side of the map, we have commanding the Commissar Lord for the Imperial Guard, Mr. Blaqk. That is Black with a QK at the end of it. Blaqk is well known around the GameReplays.org community. He is the senior referee over there, and he was recently involved with the Game Replay Open Season Tournament. If you haven't seen those games, by the way, full coverage is available on my channel. His opponent on the southern side of the map is going to be Mr. GiDDoLo, commanding the Warp Spider X-Arc for the Eldar. So GiDDoLo, again, a really skilled player. We've seen him a couple of times on my channel as well. I believe he's kind of like near the 1900 skill rating range. He's near the 1800s range. They're, they're both a little bit below that. So let's get this game started. All right, so Warp Spider X-Arc, Guardians, and going for the Howling Banshee squad first for GiDDoLo. It looks like up here, Mr. Commissar is going for a fast Sentinel. So Sentinel, Howling Banshees, all that stuff looks pretty good. I do certainly enjoy Mr. Drive me closer, I want to hit them with my sword, Commissar here. So just kind of spreading out, capping things. This map has some very unique geography, and already we can see the Warp Spider X-Arc taking full advantage of this. I was going to say that you have these nice little ramps that kind of lead up and around, protecting this power node. As you can see, though, Warp Spider X-Arc has no problems whatsoever blinking over this wall and just shredding away these poor little guardsmen. Haha, look, I did it again. The Sentinel, however, coming in. Oh, no, and he totally misses the ground pound there. Unfortunately, the Warp Spider X-Arc can blink however he wants. Either way, plenty more guardsmen where that came from. The Imperium always has more of them. Went ahead and just capped that spot regardless, and is now upgrading it to a power node. By the way, no other units coming out for Blaqk for the time being. We have a new Guardian squad coming out right now for GiDDoLo. So let's take a look around and see what's going on. Again, the Sentinel's doing a pretty good job putting some pressure on this Warp Spider X-Arc. Warp Spider X-Arc will do some adequate damage to it, though. Winding up once again for the ground pound. Maybe. Will he get it? Yes, he does get it. The Warp Spider X-Arc, as you can see, he was below 35 mana, which I believe is the teleport cost there, so he wasn't able to teleport away. The Sentinel is an interesting unit, by the way. It doesn't quite act like a normal vehicle in the sense most vehicles only take damage from anti-vehicle weapons. The Sentinel will definitely take damage from normal small arms fire. It's kind of like a light vehicle there. If you're a Coho player or a Company of Heroes player, it's a lot like a motorcycle sort of in that regards. But it's a lot tougher, though. We can see power generators up for Blaqk already here. Still no additional units, so Blaqk is definitely going to give up map control a little bit, as there are 3 units out on the field right now for GiDDoLo. We can see the Sentinel here just kind of defending this victory point. Again, the victory points spread across the center of the map, kind of making a line between the two players, slightly diagonal. Commissar Lord just doing whatever he wants on his own side of the map. Soon to have to deal with these Guardians, though, who are showing up right now, putting some fire on him. The Commissar does have this nice little shield ability. However, he has run out of mana, so he's not going to be able to use that for the time being. Over here on the right-hand side, we can see the Guardsmen are putting a little bit of repairs on that Sentinel. The Guardsmen and the Heavy Weapon Squad, which just came out of the field, both those units can repair mechanical units here, so kind of supporting their early game vehicles and whatnot there. Over here on the left, we can see the Warp Spider X-Arc and the Guardians continuing to just hang on to this point, be annoying. Mr. Commissar running home with his fancy-looking trench coat there. Here we have it now. Another ability of the Guardsmen we see being used very nicely here in the center. They can construct these multi-laser turrets. And as you can see, the pathways into this central victory point are very narrow and limited. One player controls 2 of them, the other player controls 2 of them, and thus we can see the heavy bolter team is set up here along with that multi-laser turret, covering the Guardsmen as they cap that middle area there. We can see here, it looks like now the pressure is coming for the Sentinel. GiDDoLo has gone ahead and got his Shuriken weapons team again, another heavy machine gun type unit out there for anyone who's new to this game. It adds suppressing fire and that sort of thing. Just kind of covering the pads, covering this, covering his little expeditionary force over here, capping this this victory point. So 2 victory points are about to be up right now for GiDDoLo, and a single one is up for Blaqk for the time being here. Blaqk, his Commissar right now has been upgraded to have the Power Sword, which is awesome. It gives him the lead by example ability, which allows him to kind of charge in, knocking back units, swaying around here with his Power Sword. So we see a little bit of that going on, and I'm going to have to remove my camera angle to catch this action. We can see the Guardians right now going ahead and jumping into that little civilian structure there in the background here. However, the focus fire is just way too much for Mr. Commissar. He will have to run on out of there, dashing cap and all. Anyhow, taking a bit of damage there, retreating away. You can see the Sentinel doing a good job just kind of decapping these positions here, forcing his opponent here to have to recapture them. And now central control has gone to Blaqk. However, he has lost control over the left and the right-hand sides of the map right now. So the score is 2-1 in favor of GiDDoLo. Mr. Blaqk here is ticking down at around 400 points versus GiDDoLo's 500 points. The Heavy Bolter team is moving in towards the center right now, likely trying to defend this multi-laser turret. We can see the Shuriken team looking a little bit exposed here, kind of set up in the middle here, and now you can see that all three of these units, the multi-laser turret, the Heavy Weapon Squad, and the Sentinel, firing away at that Shuriken team. No way they're going to be able to cap that point or do anything useful. Ooh, and here we can actually see the Heavy Weapons team is deployed and is repairing the Sentinel at the same time there. Over here on the right-hand side here, oh, it looks like the Guardsmen have been upgraded to have a Flamer. The Flamer does increase their damage. As you would expect, it's really good against infantry, but it's also really good against buildings, so stuff like power nodes. Infantry equipped with Flamers are prime time awesome for coming on in and doing damage to power generators and that sort of thing. So likely he was coming down here to try and do some gen bashing. However, fortunately, GiDDoLo put his generators off in another area there. So Warp Spider Exarch now putting some pressure on the Guardsmen. Meanwhile, we can see the Commissar Lord here. Oh, no! And it looks like while all of that was going on, the Commissar Lord was having a little bit of private time with the Howling Banshees, who had been taking some losses there. And as you can see, the Howling Banshees have been eliminated. GiDDoLo losing track of his Howling Banshees there. Howling Banshees, really, really good in melee. Really great close combat, but they are pretty fragile if you don't pay close attention to them. And that's not the first time I've seen GiDDoLo be a little bit loose with his Howling Banshees there. So not in this game, I mean, just in general. So, Warp Spider Exarch now. Oh, getting knocked back. We see some Catachan Devils on the field right now. These specialists using the knockback effect of their shotgun to kind of knock around that Warp Spider Exarch a little bit. They also have that old, reliable grenade launcher, so we'll certainly see a little bit of that. Right now, just putting pressure, taking down this power node here. Warp Spider Exarch, by the way, we saw he had been upgraded to have improved targeters. Just generally upgrades his range and damage. Always a good thing to be doing versus Imperial Guard, because they tend to have lots of little flimsy units. And there we see the old reliable grenade barrage pumping out of those Catachan Devils, knocking back the Shuriken team. And now we have the Commissar. He's just going to go ahead, lead by example, and charge on in there, swinging his sword wildly, and just kind of sending those units home as they are forced to retreat. So the Commissar now capping some of these points. We can see the Sentinel making good use of its time, decapping that power point behind him as well. And stuff is looking pretty interesting here. So 2 victory points now going to Blaqk. GiDDoLo is at 475 and ticking down. And now basically the pressure is on him to be able to come back here and start capping some points. Looks like guarding this entrance very nicely with the Catachans. The Catachans can normally do a good job holding down these little narrow corridors here because they have so many knockback abilities, but unfortunately they were suppressed then, taking a lot of damage and having to retreat. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see those Catachans, though, guarding these little stairways and whatnot, using that knockback effect to try and keep people from coming down and approaching that victory point. So 2-1 right now. Black's looking pretty good. Ooh, we do have a Bright Lance weapon team out, by the way. Not a bad idea. I think that's a little bit of the metagame creeping in here. GiDDoLo is just used to playing against Imperial Guard. Most Imperial Guard, as soon as they get to level 2, will get a Chimera. That's a very popular troop transport early vehicle to get out there. And he's just kind of, you know, making sure he's got a Bright Lance out there. Bright Lance being a last cannon type thing that does a lot of damage to vehicles and all that sort of stuff. So let's take a look around and see what we've got going on right now. So Catachans, just kind of palling around here with the Commissar Lord, heading down here to the right-hand side. You can see we've got a little bit of an incursion going on. Now this is very nice here. The Warp Spider Exarch is capping this victory point. Meanwhile, the Shuriken team is setting up in order to provide some covering fire for him, for anyone coming up there. But it doesn't matter. Once again, the Catachan Devils do a great job of just knocking back that Shuriken weapons team, breaking suppression for just a little bit. And here we have it. It looks like the Commissar Lord, leading by example, charges in with a combination of the flamethrowers. The Catachan Devils, who have been upgraded to have a sergeant as well, are all just kind of pushing in here, and that is far too much for GiDDoLo to deal with for the time being here. It looks like, for right now at least, that Bright Lance weapon team was a little bit early, it not really countering anything on the battlefield right now, so we'll have to see what's going to go on with that. But once again, Blaqk has managed to retain control of the right-hand side of the map. I like the fact that he's just sort of, you know, He's just kind of keeping an eye on the left side of the map, but he's not trying to go for full control or anything like that. He knows 2 victory points held well is all you need to win this game. Looking over here, we can see, again, just kind of capping these points and whatnot. Oh, and now we see what GiDDoLo is up to. GiDDoLo, sensing some options here, is going to go ahead and get a Falcon out. Now, that could be a little bit dangerous. As we see, Blaqk does have a heavy weapons team out, which is, once again, a nice little repair station here for that Sentinel. That heavy weapons team can very quickly be upgraded to have a last cannon on it, which basically is really good about taking out those vehicles. So I would expect that that's going to be the natural response there for Blaqk. However, I am curious to see if Blaqk is planning on getting anything at Tier 2 just yet. We certainly haven't seen anything, but he has capped that point. You can see that these Catachan Devils with the Sarge are able to infiltrate if they stand still long enough, and that's exactly what that was. It looks like the Commissar was just kind of baiting that Warp Spider Exarch into range. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, we can see there is that generator bashing squad I was talking about earlier. The Guardsmen here putting pressure on that generator, and no, they retreat before they get it. They take too many losses right now, being fired upon by the Warp Spider Exarch and this Falcon. So now the Falcon is out on the field right now. This little grav tank does quite a bit of damage here. It's got a wide assortment of weapons on it, just kind of firing away at those Catachan Devils. Oh no, and while I was talking about that, of course, the Commissar Lord charged down that Warp Spider Exarch and was able to totally annihilate him. Oh man! Oh man, and we have that shot out of the Falcon right there. All of that right there. Doing a ton of damage, killing quite a few members of that Catachan squad right there. Looks like about 4 of them were just taken out right then. Meanwhile, this is exactly what I expected. The heavy weapons squad has already been upgraded to have that last cannon. 2 shots going into the Falcon. The Falcon's never going to get out of there. We can see charging up, and bam, there goes that 3rd shot. And unfortunately, oh, I see what was going on there. We had the Guardian squad was inside there. What killed those Catachans earlier was a grenade thrown before they hopped in there. So there was a... basically, they threw a plasma grenade at the feet of the Catachans and jumped into the Falcon there. So that was actually a nice grenade spike by the Guardians, taking out all those Catachans. More towards the center, we can still see the heavy weapons last cannon team is set up. The Sentinel has been upgraded to have a missile launcher on it. That's pretty good. It can be used for vehicles and also just for general frag missiles to take out troops and whatnot, clusters of troops. So once again, the Commissar kind of pound around. By the way, he does have stubbornness, which increases his regeneration based on the number of squads around him. He has his bionic eye as well. Basically, the Commissar can execute units of a squad, making them do better. And his executability changes based on his upgrades. I believe the Bionic Eye makes his execute give them more defense and stuff like that. So, anyhow, pretty upgraded Commissar Lord now, just charging around, doing quite a bit of damage here. Guardian Squad, despite having set up that shield and all that, doesn't really matter. Getting chased out of there by all of these Catachans. On the left-hand side, by the way, we also have Flamers right now engaged in melee with this Guardian Squad. Guardian upgraded with battle equipment and a Warlock seem to be doing quite well. These Guardians, oh no, I think Blaqk has completely forgotten about them. Unfortunately, they were just annihilated over there on the left-hand side while he was concentrating on the right-hand side, doing a pretty good job. You can see him right now using that flare ability, I think that was, to kind of scare off these troops here. The flare looks a lot like a Manticore barrage, so, ooh, look at that. They can always use that to kind of fake them out a little bit. So it looks like our Commissar Lord is going to back off for the time being. Honestly, he should just kind of back off and hang out by some more units, let that stubbornness kick in, give him some hit point regeneration. Here we can see those frag missiles firing out in volleys of 3, doing a lot of damage to this Warp Spider Exarch. He needs to move. Maybe he's going to blink. He doesn't have. He just barely has the mana. Nope, he's just going to retreat on out of there. So. Again, central control, still nice, strongly taken by Blaqk here. Blaqk going for some Ogrins as well. Ooh, Ogrins, big, hefty, ogre-like creatures. We will be seeing a little bit of that. And I love this right here, the Catachan Devils. They do have a demolitions expert, so they went ahead and set up some improvised explosives. They can detonate those at will.